What is going on, guys? CWpoke here, back with another episode, but this time it's going to be something a little different, and I'm going to be doing a Nationals recap. Yes, guys, Nationals, U.S. Nationals 2015 just ended, and man, I am so sad that it is over already, but I did have a blast, and I was going to share with you guys my team and sort of my, experiences in the tournament. And yeah, so we'll get started with the team right now. If you guys couldn't tell, it was based around Mega Charizard. Now, Mega Charizard Y is one of my favorite Megas to use, especially in this season. I fell in love with this moveset very shortly after trying it out. But Heat Wave, Overheat, Solar Beam, and Protect. Now, the star move right here, and probably the favorite move on my entire team, is this Overheat. Overheat in the sun with a modest nature and 164 special attack EVs hits hard. And I mean, anything that was neutral, Togekiss, Zapdos, normally very bulky Pokemon, were usually one-shotted by it, and it was fantastic because it net me so many one-shots that would have otherwise really helped my teammate. You know, Zapdos and Togekiss, for instance, setting up Tailwind, and Tailwind can be a very crucial move. But eliminating that Pokemon in one shot was so essential on this team, so I loved it. Now, the spread is actually ripped from Sejun Park. He is the 2014 World Champion, actually, from Korea. And I don't honestly know what it does, but I know that this is a very fast and offensive Charizard, which is all I really wanted, along with being pretty bulky. It's got a little bit of defense and HP investment, and I really like that. So I just went with modest, and it outspeeds, I think, some of the mid-speed tier Pokemon. Like I said, again, Zapdos and Togekiss, you know, those sort of Pokemon that normally aren't very fast because they don't opt in for a lot of speed. And so our next Pokemon is Thunderous. Yes, Thunderous is probably my favorite Pokemon in this format this whole year. I just knew when I was making a team for Nationals, I knew I needed Thunderous. I usually started every single team with Thunderous first, and then I added Charizard later on when I realized I wanted him as well. But Thunderous was he was guaranteed to make it to Nationals this year. I love Thunderous. He's probably one of my favorite Pokemon right now. And I ran a pretty typical set. It's a very bulky EV spread like most people run, but instead of running either a calm or a bold nature like most people do for extra defenses, I actually went with modest. And if there was one thing I could have possibly changed in this moveset, I think I may have tried making him a little bit more offensive to the point where Hidden Power Ice would be able to one-shot Landorus, Therian, and Salamence, Mega Salamence, assuming they didn't have any bulk. But otherwise, it normally leaves them both at about 80 to 90%. Or it does about 80 to 90%. But yes, mine is a very standard moveset: Thunderbolt, HP Ice, Thunder Wave, and Taunt, with the Citrus Berry. Thunderous, usually, I think I brought him to every single match in the tournament. I brought him to just about every practice match. And my usual game plan with him was to get off some offensive hits. If it seemed like offense wasn't going to be the best bet, then go for the Thunder Waves, you know. And especially the best part about Thunderous is when he's going to get outsped next turn and one-shotted by something, I can still get a Thunder Wave off somewhere, you know. So that was why I loved him. He was kind of like the trump card Pokemon where I could throw out a Thunder Wave and spread paralysis if I needed to. So our next Pokemon was Landorus, and this is where the team gets a little more, I guess they're all kind of cookie cutter at this point, but this guy was just pretty standard. Just a standard Choice Scarf set. Looking back at the Nationals finals, I do kind of wish I, experimented a little bit more with, Focus Sash and Assault Vest sets, but I really did like the Choice Scarf Landorus. It was one of the few things I had to sort of counter Mega Salamence. Being able to get those faster Rock Slides did help me out in a couple scenarios. But otherwise, he was kind of the underwhelmer of this tournament. I really loved him during practice, and I used him very often, but seeing so many Milotics running around, I was always really hesitant to bring him. So I ended up not bringing him to a whole lot of matches, but he did put in work every now and then, so he was pretty cool still. Terrakion, another pretty basic Pokemon, standard Jolly, 252 attack and speed, just like Landorus, except Jolly instead of Adamant, with Rock Slide, Close Combat, Quick Guard, and Protect. And I chose to run Focus Sash. A lot of people like to run Lumberry. I wanted it mainly to win in speed ties against Terrakions as well, so that, or not win in speed ties, but in case I lost the speed ties and they were Lumberry, I would still win out in the 1v1. And on top of that, there's a lot of moves, it was nice to be able to take a Politoed Scald in the rain if it was Choice Scarfed or something, and then come back with a Close Combat. Unfortunately, there was one set of matches where it did come down to the speed ties with Terrakion, and they did have a Lumberry Terrakion, but because of switches and all the complicated stuff, I wasn't able to preserve the Sash, and I lost the speed tie every single time, and ended up losing that game, unfortunately, in the tournament. But overall, I really did like Terrakion. It was usually either him or Landorus every match. Sometimes I used both, but typically in the tournament, I used Terrakion. Now, Venusaur was another one of my favorite Pokemon on this team. Venusaur I've always kind of run without really using it too often. It's normally sort of that niche Pokemon, just in case I need Venusaur to take out something that's crucial on my opponent's team. But in this tournament, I used him in just about every single match. He was just as popular as Thunderous and Charizard. Those were probably my common three, and then it was usually a toss-up between Landorus or Terrakion. But this Venusaur is another very standard spread. It's just fast and offensive. It's modest with 2v2 speed and special attack with Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, HP Ice, and Protect. And I gave it Life Orb because Life Orb is what pushes that Hidden Power Ice into a one-shot on most non-bulky Mega Salamence and Landorus. So definitely came in handy. He honestly during the whole tournament was my Mega Salamence counter. As crazy as that sounds, I was actually debating on running a Mega Venusaur so I could run a dual Mega team. I felt like a dual Mega team would have been kind of nice in a best 2 out of 3 setting, but I realized that if I ran Mega Venusaur I'd only be that much more weak to Mega Salamence, so instead I turned him more into a counter rather than getting countered by Mega Salamence. And so my last Pokemon, and honestly kind of the regret of the day, was Escavalier. Now, this guy was a last minute decision. I don't normally do that, but on this team I couldn't think of a 6-slot Pokemon. I was testing out Aegislash. I don't like playing as Aegislash despite how good he is. Hydreigon, you know, just I didn't like Hydreigon either. So I tried Escavalier because I noticed during practice I was getting destroyed by Trick Room, and Cresselia in particular because it was oftentimes carrying Mental Herb. So with Taunt on Thunderous and a Mental Herb, it really, like, I had no way to stop Trick Room. Besides maybe Rock Slide flinches if I wanted to try that 1 in 3 chance. So what I did is I actually ripped this one from, I believe it is Wakaboom VGC on Nugget Bridge. I'll put his team report, his or her team report, in the description down below. But yes, this is a very standard Escavalier. It's brave, 2v2 attack, and a lot of bulk, and it has Mega Horn, Iron Head, Drill Run, and Protect with the Expert Belt. The Expert Belt, if you guys do not know, boosts super effective moves by 1.2, and it was able to get the one-shot onto most Cresselias. If it was really defensively bulky, it couldn't, but, you know, Cresselia obviously can't do much to an Escavalier, and its ability Overcoat was really nice because it also helped me not have to worry about Amoonguss' Spore. But every team that had an Amoonguss in the tournament did not bring one, most likely because they saw the Venusaur, the Thunderous, and the Charizard Y. Those all Pokemon that could really ruin its day. And also maybe Terrakion if they were scared of the Lumberry. But yes, overall guys, in the tournament I never actually used Escavalier. I realized that as scared of Trick Room as I was, I feel like my team was way more weak to Mega Salamence and Heatran, and this guy just didn't really cut the job for either of them. Maybe he could do something on Mega Salamence, but sometimes, you know, they're running special sets, and with the Flying Stab, you know, it's a neutral attack, so it's not like he's really resisting it. In hindsight, I would have rather tried out Swampert. I think having a water type on my team would have helped, especially against Heatran. And you know, I could make him really bulky to the point where Expert Belt, Ice Beam, and Earth Power could one-shot Salamence and Heatran while still having a lot of bulk. So, you know, in retrospect, I would have gone with that. But it's a little too late for that, but luckily, I mean, Escavalier did come through in the 8-man pods. There was one time where I did actually use him there, but overall in the tournament and in practice, I never used him. So yeah, overall the tournament went really well. I went 6-3. Now my goal was to go 7-2 to make it to day 2. My main goal of the day obviously was to win nationals, but my main goal was really to just make it to day 2. And I needed to go 7-2, and unfortunately I could not clutch it out. I went 2-2. Had a fairly rough start with some two really tough opponents that I lost to, and I had to bring in a 5-0 win streak to you know, come back at 7-2, and I ended up losing on the second to last round. So I went, what is that? I think I went 5-3, and then I went 6-3. Yeah, 5-3, and then I went 6-3 to finish off the day. Got 90th place. I had some really low resistance. Last year I also went 6-3, and I got 62nd place. So that shows you that with resistance and who you lose to can really affect what your actual placing is. But yes, one thing I did note about this team is that it does have a big weakness to Mega Salamence. It's also weak to Trick Room, Cresselia in particular as a Trick Room setter, or really anyone with Mental Herb. And one thing I found out too, I don't know why I didn't think about this looking back at it, but you know, Sand is it's an archetype that was gaining so much popularity right before Nationals, and I had never really practiced against it. So like in theory, I was like, oh, you know, my Sand matchup is fine. If I get Sun Up, you know, Venusaur, and I have a Sash Terrakion, you know, those guys can handle it, Landorus can handle it. But honestly, the combination of the Choice Scarf Tyranitar, the Focus Sash Excadrill with that extra speed on it, and the Mega Salamence, you know, not being able to, if I didn't have the weather up, I was in a very bad spot, and I learned that very, very well in my second to last match where I got my third loss. You know, unlike Rain, you know, Rain is a different matchup with Sun because you can switch in on a Rain attack and get the Sun up, so that way the water types won't do as much to you. But with Sun, you know, I can't switch into a Tyranitar's Rock Slide. I may get the Sun up, but then my Charizard is gone, so it was a really tricky matchup that, again, I didn't think about as much as I should have. And, you know, I was thinking, okay, Focus Sash Terrakion, but then you have a Choice Scarf Rock Slide from Tyranitar and an Iron Head from Excadrill, and Terrakion never even got a chance to attack. So I quickly learned during the tournament that my Sand matchup was pretty bad. But overall, it was a really fun time, and I did learn a lot. I'll be able to better prepare for the metagame and just kind of, you know, figure out what to look for next time, figure out what I did wrong in this tournament, and hopefully improve back to a 7-2 win record, if that's still what you need to get into day 2 or whatever, however it works next year. But yes, it was a pretty fun time. And now as far as matches go, I have all the matches like written down as far as teams and everything like that, but I figured it would be a lot to talk about in this video, and I kind of want to keep it short. So I think what I'm going to do is type those up and put them in like a paste bin that you guys can see. So if you want to see my game by game play, see who I faced, what Pokemon they had, I will have that in the description down below. So some highlights of the tournament. If you guys don't know, these are some pretty big fan favorites. Wolf Glick and Aaron Zhang. These guys are awesome. I've known both of them for quite some time. Aaron, unfortunately, I've not really gotten the opportunity to really hang out with him and you know him on a one-to-one basis, but he seems like a really awesome guy. And Wolf is kind of the same, but we do have a very funny sort of backstory, and that is that back in the old Pokemon Online days, before Showdown, I remember I used to practice all the time, and I was always facing this guy in the 2011 season known as Wolfie on his little account name. And I didn't know who he was at the time, and honestly, I don't think he was that, you know, well known of a player at that time, so I don't think many people did. You know, he was, I think, new around that time. And I just remember we always faced each other. We kept getting matched with each other online. It became this point where it was kind of like frustrating, but we'd both kind of joke about how annoying it was that we were always just facing each other. And so we kind of had that thing, but I remember he always had like a Cofagrigus and a Scrafty. He had this really cool Trick Room team. And then I remember going to Nationals 2011, not thinking anything about him at that time. I was, you know, it wasn't like a big deal. But I just remember watching, like, not the finals, but just some of the top cut rounds at the very end of the tournament, and I was like, wait, that team looks really familiar. I see a Cofagrigus and I see a Scrafty, like, what? And then I heard the name Wolf, and I was like, whoa, 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 that's Wolfie from Pokemon Online. And I realized that that was the guy who ended up taking the national title that year. That was the guy who I kept battling on Pokemon Online, so I thought that was pretty cool. Another highlight was the second day. Even though I did not make it onto day 2 of the actual tournament, I did join an 8-man pod just for fun, and I did win 3-0, so yay, we won 2 packs of Pokemon cards. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it looks like they cut back on the prizes a little bit this year. I remember 2 years ago I did side events, and man, they like, if you just showed up, they gave you tons of cards. So when I won, I was like, oh sweet, I won, I get some cards, and they handed me 2 packs. I was like, oh, I mean, okay. So it wasn't as much as I was expecting, but hey, you know, they were cool cards. Unfortunately, no full arts or anything crazy, but I did get a Jirachi holo foil, so that was pretty cool. And the last really huge highlight was meeting these two guys. Yes, Shady Penguin and Justin Flynn. These two guys are 2 huge inspirations, and they seem like such cool guys. Now, Justin Flynn, I actually had the pleasure of meeting him last year at Nationals, and I have a picture of that as well. But Shady Penguin, you know, I honestly didn't really know who he was until I started this YouTube channel. And, you know, I was looking at other Poketubers and seeing, you know, what kind of stuff they were doing and getting inspiration from their videos. And I saw Shady Penguin, and I really enjoyed his content. I think he is a really cool guy. So it was definitely a lot of fun meeting these guys. I thought they both did a fantastic job commentating. They just bring the hype. And they make it a little goofy, too. I like how they're kind of jokesters in a way. They kind of remind me of, like, the clowns of the group. Not in an insult, because they're just, like, so funny, but... yeah, so that was one of the coolest highlights of the tournament. And to close off, I just wanted to say thank you guys, because first things first, you guys are seriously incredible. I typed in awesome, but I say incredible. But yes, thank you guys so much for your support. You know, I haven't really been doing YouTube or Twitch streaming for a whole long time yet. I think it's been about a month. And I'm just having a blast doing it. It's so much fun, and I cannot wait until VGC 2016. Now, until then, I think, you know, VGC on my channel will kind of take a break. I really want to wait until I get that capture card in, which hopefully is someday soon, but who knows. And you know, I think my plans are to hit VGC 2016 hard. I really want to make this season a tough one. I want to really practice a lot. I want to get some good videos out for you guys. I plan to go to the fall regionals, so you know, once regionals are kind of on the way, we'll be doing more VGC practice matches, and they'll be better and more intense and exciting. And as far as, you know, channel plans, I think what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to take a break on VGC. I'm going to watch Worlds, but I don't think I'm going to do any prep for it because I'm not going to Worlds personally. I don't have the time and money to go, and I didn't win my spot into it like I was trying to. But yeah, I think what I'm going to do is take a break on VGC and then probably do some I want to do a Let's Play of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky, especially in anticipation of the new Super Mystery Dungeon that's coming out on the 3DS in the winter, I think. I'd like to do that. Some of you guys on the stream seem like you were interested in it, and I think at some point, I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know where, but I want to do a Minecraft playthrough as well to sort of go alongside Pokemon. I want this channel to stay predominantly Pokemon, at least for now. But, you know, I do want to branch off into other games. Pokemon isn't the only game I play, and, you know, I do get tired of it every now and then. I play VGC, I have a ton of fun, but then, you know, in the off-season, I just don't play it as much. And I think during that kind of time, I want to play Minecraft and just sort of do, like, this open-world story that we, you know, just go through and just see how far we can build and how much we can make and all that kind of fun stuff. So, if you guys are enjoying, I did do a Twitch stream of Minecraft. I've never really played survival on my own. I've only really played creative on Minecraft, so it was a whole new experience, and it was pretty funny watching me get destroyed on my first night. But yeah, if you guys watch that stream, you probably got a nice kick at it. But anyways, I am rambling, and I think that's going to be it for this episode, guys. I do plan to do more of these recaps, especially after every main tournament, honestly. And I'd like to do some past ones too, just to kind of get my old teams back up here so I have like a place to keep track of them all. But thank you guys so much for watching. It has been a blast this season. I can't wait to start the VGC 2016 season. But until then, I will see you guys later. So peace out.